When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
Where the place?
Upon the battlefield, there to meet with Macbeth.
Fair is foul, and foul is fair, hovered through the fog and filthy air.
Welcome everybody to an Apocalypsis Historia live. We have a weird Woden's Dog live stream today where we're going to wander through the weird, the wonderful, and often the wicked. And today I'm joined by a special guest today. I've got Jules of the Greypilled Podcast here. If you haven't seen my community post, he's invited me to join his Gods of the Morning Wood podcast, kind of live streaming every Saturday, so be sure to check that out. But I've got him here on tonight to kind of talk about one of our favorite gods, maybe our favorite god, literally, punning on the name too, if y'all have seen my other videos before, right? We're going to be talking about some Odin, some Woden, some Wodanaz today. But before we get started, I wanted to also make sure that y'all check out all the links down below. If you want to support the channel, I've actually finally managed to figure out how to get maybe t-shirts up on there. So I think that link's down below. So if you want to get the Apocalypsis Historia logo on a t-shirt, that's a great way to kind of help support. Otherwise, we got our Patreon book club where we're reading and finishing up Richard III this week. And we're going to be studying Midsummer Night's Dream next week. And I'm actually going to be talking about how that maybe relates to some Odinic stuff, crazily enough. But so those are some great ways to support the channel. Otherwise, of course, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I also got to give a shout out to uzlaga.org. It's actually run by the community of the guy who does I think his channel's now just called Uzlaga's Law, but it used to be called Norse Magic and Beliefs. And so they're starting like a community channel. It's like almost like a little mini operating system, but it's like community, and they've got like a video uploading site and a calendar for meetups and all sorts of crazy stuff. So make sure y'all go check that out. I'm kind of flashing on the screen for y'all at the moment. So just wanted to give them a shout out because I had a very cool talk with them over this yesterday or so. But without further ado, let's get right into this stream today. Jules, man, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing great, Brady. Thank you for asking. And thank you for inviting me to your show, dude. It's been, I'd say months, maybe a couple months since I've been on someone's show. But I always love to get out of the gray-pilled realm and hop onto other people's platforms and have these conversations, man. These are really what I think helps us grow, not only as a podcast, but spiritually, right? So it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man, thanks for inviting me.
And of course, we got put in touch by, I got to give our round of shout outs, right, to Zaralath Eternal, who I've done a couple of streams with now, and of course, Steinfox of the Great Horde Pagans, because they had both kind of communicated to each other or us, like, hey, you should get in touch with the other, absolutely, right? So respectively. Yeah. So want to make sure I give our shout out to our Brohala guys out there. So make sure you go. And they're going to, of course, they're recurring guests on the Gods of the Morning Wood. So if you want to see a regular conversation between all of us, between all those guys, make sure you go over to Greypilled for that Saturday morning stream. But yeah, like I
think Stein said he would maybe be joining us this Saturday. So
heck yeah.
Yeah, man. So
make sure y'all go check out all those links. I'm going to make sure I put the channel link for that in my description box today. But, what's kind of bringing us here, of course, is going to be, yes, this enigmatic god. We're going to be talking about some Odin today, maybe talking about kind of how we got into this scene, because I think as I was kind of talking to you offline in between streams, is that, we kind of approached maybe similar avenues about how we ended up here. We had maybe similar interests leading up to, you know, maybe ironically, maybe you and I would both find it ironic that we kind of found ourselves being very, very interested in something like Odin when we kind of were like, you know, I won't get into my story just now, but I was kind of like, oh, that's not for me, or like, you know, I also just didn't think there was anything there for me anyway. But yeah, it's just kind of strange, or I always caught synchronistic.
Synchronicity, yeah. We don't believe in any kind of coincidence over at Greypilled, so we definitely call the synchronicities when we see them and when we feel them. So, but yeah, dude, no, that's something, and that's something that's one god and one pantheon. Really, the Norse Germanic pantheon was something that I, you know, because when I started Greypilled, I was heavy on Sumerian mythology. You know, tracing the certain deities, what people would call fallen angels or the gods, from that one pantheon to the Book of Enoch, and kind of you know, seeing a little more, seeing the bigger picture, you know, because when you go back to the older story, as we see with a lot of mythology and a lot of cultures, because a lot of things have been recycled, you know, you find a lot of these motifs and themes originally, you know, that you find in the Bible and in certain kind of extra canonical texts like the Book of Enoch and the Nag Hammadi. You find these in earlier cultures, right? And so I think it's good to go back to the source. But the Norse pantheon was always something that I, you know, besides the story of Enki's youngest son, Tammuz, Dumuzi, dying and going to the underworld and having to be brought back, being related directly to Balder, right? I didn't really see anything else. And now I would think of Enki to kind of line up more with the Loki archetype. And then you have that name, Loki, Enki, you know, can't ignore that. But as I journeyed through the episodes of Greypilled and other different shows that I did, Greypilled is really just my brand. It's what I started my show off to do, you know, just one show to talk about cryptids, conspiracies, occult symbolism, which I knew very little of at the time, right? I started a show, my first guest ever that came on Greypilled, his name is Adrian West. Shout out Adrian. Love you, buddy. He wrote a book called Pantheon One, the Golden Veins, and he co-wrote it with his co-author Benson C. Saili from Botswana. But I heard Adrian on My Family Thinks I'm Crazy with Mark Steves, and so I was like, wow, I really want to get this guy on, and he turned out to be my first guest. And we were just so enthralled in researching. He was into the same stuff I was into. And I can kind of show you a little bit. Looks a little cuckoo, but it's my Pantheon charts, dude. You know, like this is research that I did for years and years and years, just correlating and comparing these different gods and Sumer and you know, the Akkadian and the Assyrian pantheon to Babylon and Egypt. But when you get to Greece and you get to Rome and then you get to the north, it doesn't really jive with the other two well. You know what I mean? It's you start to go, wait a minute. Are these stories originally coming from these northern cultures? Right? Like, how far back does this go? Why am I finding like certain similarities here, but not here? Why does this entity only exist in the Book of Enoch, Semyaza, and nowhere else? Right? And so that was kind of one of the first things that I got into, as well as etymology. Obviously, the show being Elohim Etymology, the show that me and Adrian started. It became one of the first shows I was doing on Greypilled as a whole. I was still conducting interviews and doing swap casts, deep dives. I don't think we were doing watch parties at first, but we started to do them, and other things, solo shows on Greypilled. That was like, you know, each episode of Greypilled. But I had Elohim Etymology. Also, shout out to the Paranoid American. Shout out Thomas. he was my first podcast to ever do was Reality Czars with him and Nate. And shout out Nate, great guy. And then my second episode was with the Paranoid American and Donut. We were covering the 1972 Rothschild ball, all the symbolism that you find in those pictures. And it was a hell of a second episode for me, right? I'm sitting there with like over 2,000 people watching live, and I'm just like I think I did pretty good. So me and Thomas, the Paranoid American, started a show called Sound Science. We were both musicians. Yeah, I've been playing drums for over 20 years. He's done some like mixing and editing stuff. He's made his own music, his own AI stuff too. I know not everybody's a fan of that, but we kind of have to work with what we're given. And we started a show called Sound Science, where we would have another fellow occult symbolism, conspiracy-esque type person on, and we would go over like five albums, and we would kind of go through, what does this mean to you? How did you get to listen to this music? We had Nick Cage's son on. Shout out to Weston Cage. We had Foundering on. We had Shane Cashman came on. Dude, we had a lot of people come on that show. And I'd love to do another one. He's a pretty busy guy. Shout out Thomas. But so I had those shows, right? And so I started producing for a parapolitical show called Already Dead with Austin Picard and Jose Galison. Now, that's like the littlest I know about conspiracy is in the parapolitical realm. And dude, I learned a shit ton producing for their show for about a year. Love those guys too. Left on good terms. I started doing the Occult Rejects, right? And as I'm doing the Occult Rejects, I meet Headless, I meet Nick, I meet all the guys. And my perception starts to widen, starts to broaden, right? How I perceive things, the lens I'm viewing things through. I'm starting to experience things, or the things I have experienced spiritually, I'm starting to be able to define those things and point out what they are. What is an egregore, right? What, like all these different metaphysical, esoteric kind of ideas. And I started to do a show with Headless Giant called Rustic Gods, where we went through the Greek nature gods. We also talked a little bit, so it'd be more like closer to the Vanir, right? That we kind of discussed, and we also got into like subversion in media and of our culture and of the gods, and it was basically pro gods, right? And I'm here, this Christian mystic, and I'm starting to understand a lot more than I thought I knew, and it's frustrating, and that became a theme on my show, is that the truth is not comfortable, and so I start to kind of view all these different things like, well, wait a minute, this is how I view nature. That's how I see the gods, right? Like even going, and we'll get into like the wolf archetype and stuff with Odin, but like eventually, I couldn't lie to myself anymore. And early on in the conspiracy thing, I wasn't really like JQ'd yet, right? Like on the whole, thing with October 7th happening, that kind of kickstarted all that off. But as well as learning about our culture and the lens through in which it was written, right? And how our culture is constantly subverted, taught to us as a subversion, but not only that, it's bastardized in media, it's bastardized in the arts, and all sorts of things, dude. And I started to realize all these things at once. And then the whole, I read the Old Testament, Brady, and I was in awe of myself. I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this guy Jacob, who in Genesis 33, by the way, this is clearly Masonic, he is initiated. He wrestles with God in 32, and 33 he's initiated. And so, but he's rewarded for deceiving his father and robbing his brother. And I'm going, so these people in which, I mean, you know, and you kind of see it play out when you start to kind of learn about Jewish eschatology and midrash and a lot of things that, you know, the ancient rabbinical schools talked about and things that they kind of wrote up. You start to see like, well, wait a minute, what is happening to our culture? Who does run the media? All these different things, but you start to see it on a much deeper spiritual level. And you go, holy shit, our ancestors didn't worship demons. And from then on, anything pro-Abrahamic, guess what? I had to look into it even more. And that would usually bring me back to paganism, back to ancestral faith. And so, you know, it was around this time last year, really, I think, when we started to, when I started to really consider going down this road. And so came around Christmas, and I remember the episode, Odin as Santa. and I watched that whole thing, and I was just like, I can't lie to myself anymore. You know, all these things that I've experienced. And then I reached out to the gods, and I got an answer. And ever since then, I have experienced more spiritually than I ever have in my life. Not to mention, this is in my 33rd year of life as well that this is all happening. Right? I'm 33 at this time, and suddenly I come into ancestral faith, and it's like, you know, this path I'm going down, I have, you know, I know to be the true path, or I wouldn't be here. Right? Or I would have decided to grift and LARP the fallen angel, demons, all that. That's really popular right now. You know, I mean, it was already popular in the conspiracy community, but now you see Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones and Candace Owens, all these people who I don't trust, you know. And I think if, as conspiracy theorists or realists or whatever y'all want to call yourselves out there, you should definitely ask, you know, can I trust these? Should I trust these people? What's their track record? Who's their dad? Right? Like, but yeah, dude. Basically, and that led me into looking in and just being more and more passionate about European culture and folkish paganism, and venerating and our culture to the best of my ability. Right? It's a hill that I'll die on. So.
Yeah, it's really knowing how people like Tucker Carlson would have been, you know, sneering at so-called conspiracy theorists over his career, but now he just gets to rehash conspiracies that people like us have been out discussing. For years. Yeah,
we know have been talking about, and it's like, well, these people get fucking thrown under the bus. Fucking Zarelaf's been doing this for 8 years. You know, the Occult Rejects have been on for, I think, a decade. Like, a lot of these people have been talking about this stuff forever. And now, so when I started seeing the mainstream people get into the fallen angel stuff and Enoch, I go, wait a minute, this is in the Abrahamic paradigm. And then you realize that, oh, wait, Satanism only exists inside of an Abrahamic paradigm. The gods fought off the Jotun, and they fought off all sorts of monsters for us, for humanity. And yet they're evil. They're fallen. Well, it's just because, you know, this says so right here. Well, shouldn't we question that? Well, I don't think we should. It's best to just have faith and trust the plan. Trust God's plan, goy. You know, that's basically what they're saying, you know, and it's like, no, I'm not going to follow blindly off the cliff into the volcano. No. And that does lead me to push back on things a lot more, dude. It's like, I will not call myself a sheep or a fucking lamb, whatever. I would rather consider myself a wolf.
And even on that sort of imagery, right, with the devil, you know, what animal often gets associated with Satanism, right, is going to be the goat. And a goat is just way more hard-headed, way more stubborn than a sheep is, you know?
well, most people would see that image of Odin and go, "Oh, look, the horns." It's like those are his ravens, you know. And even if they were horns, guess what? Horns represent connection to the divine, right? Coming out of our temples and going towards the sky. So, and I find a lot of that with Odin, that kind of heaven and earth union, you know? But the good thing about this is I get to relearn history, you know, through a correct lens, one that's not being pushed on us. Because now you see this stuff kind of being pushed on us, especially people who never even thought about or talked about anything having to do with Christianity now. Coming to Christianity, like Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan, like all these super like dudes that glow super hard too. You know what I mean? Like, so it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence at all. And that's why, something else we say besides the truth isn't comfortable. Question everything. I think most conspiracy theorists that put that shit on their shirt should take it off, because they don't. If they were, they would probably be here sitting down with us right now having these conversations. This isn't a popular conversation. I'm not trying to LARP, right? I've lost many Patreon members, followers, fellow podcasters, just over, a change in my path of faith, right? My path, my spiritual path, no one else's, just mine. And it's just funny to see how many people judge you off that, even knowing you as a person, knowing, your friends, they, you both assume that you're good people, right? But I don't know, man. And I've seen that not as much IRL, because I'm kind of a hermit, to be quite honest with you. In the last few years, especially, I guess with podcasting comes like that whole kind of warlock hermit vibe. I don't know. But what about you?
And talking on that, when you're talking about losing that support, and even if people that can entertain an idea without having to accept it are kind of the people we're looking for, right? Because there's plenty of Catholics that know exactly where I come from, and that we can still actually have conversations and still try to find common ground or alliance. Because at the same time, we still kind of recognize an overarching enemy. Maybe it's like this coming up with the right term for it or whatever for something. But there's something that for certain people, you can kind of tell like that we're on the same wavelength about things that are like super, super important. Obviously, political parties are not really that important, but there's other people that I click with all the time. But I will say, because my co-host Chance is actually in the chat, and we did a whole stream on this because we were talking about postmodernism. But one thing that when you're in this conspiracy, especially if you're more green, the conspiracy thing, it's usually framed that everything's just evil paganism. It's just like, they're just trying to redo all this paganism stuff all the time. So you're like, oh yeah, well those must be the bad guys, right? And like you kind of said, no, it's actually they're repurposing and kind of like tainting it and kind of screwing it up. But yeah, no one gets a worse shaft than if you're pagan or heathen, or if you're an atheist too, right? Sometimes, dude, those people hate atheists really hard too.
Oh yeah,
God forbid.
See atheists get shit on. They probably get shit on the most, because I see some pagan shitting on them. But yeah, no, I guess back in like when I was a teenager, I would have considered myself more of an atheist, right? I was just like a punk rock kid, but definitely not spiritual at all whatsoever.
Yeah, it was always something I was interested in, but it was like, I thought Gnosticism was kind of like, that kind of felt relative to the world, the sort of matrix world that, things are kind of controlled by archons, or, not even want to go metaphysical, but, just people that control money systems and banking systems and that kind of stuff, right? Energy systems, like, if we want to just bring it down to a materialistic archon, right? That just kind of seemed like it was a part of it. And yeah, kind of like you, it was kind of a Christmas thing. I remember like trying to get into Orthodox.
I was going to ask, what happened with you to make
So, you know, I used to listen to, once again, kind of like same thing, listen to conspiracy theorists, listen to political stuff, and just thought, yeah, something like Orthodox Christianity just kind of answered some of those questions. And so, you know, I've always been interested in spirituality, just, you know, kept trying different things, but just definitely never ever tried paganism. I was like, nope, that probably is not it. You know, oh, the human sacrifice, my human sacrifice is what they do, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I remember, yeah, trying to get out this Bible,
sacrificing your enemies in front of your enemies.
Yeah. And I just remember trying to read like the Bible, like literally like days before because I have a couple of kids now, but I'd already had one daughter, but you know, it was like days before. I'm talking like days before my first son was born, and I didn't know. We also do this thing. I never reveal the gender. It's always a surprise every time it comes out. So I didn't know if I was having a boy or not, but you know, I already had a girl, so yeah, I want a boy.
I think
this
in
time.
ancient times, that was very common because people didn't want them, you know, to be cursed.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't want people to try and curse him, because if it was a boy and he was going to get the throne or whatever, if he was going to be the heir to a certain throne, but there was already some other child with some other some mistress, right? And I don't know, just.
Absolutely. You know, and if we were supposed to see what it is, we'd probably have a window into the mom's belly, right? That's what I've heard someone put it before, so I kind of like that.
I like that.
That rationalization. But yeah, I remember trying to read it, you know, Christmas Eve, you know, got the family around because I'm trying to instill this culture, right? And reading the whatever verse they have prescribed for Christmas Eve and reading it and being like, nope, like this is not going to be it. Like this is not working. This feels alienation. This actually makes me feel even further away.
This feels foreign.
Yeah, it feels foreign. It feels like it's not for me. You have to like, I don't know, like nothing clicked. And even just, I'd like to be intrigued a little bit, right? Because people would be like, oh, you're not supposed to feel something that way. No, that's actually how it works, man. You're actually just,
those
when
are
you
demons,
hear God's
bro.
silence,
those are demons that have interfered in your psyche. And now in the spiritual realm, well, here's what they'll say as well. When you die, if you see someone that looks like you, don't go to them, because it's a demon in disguise. You're just like, fuck you. How about that? No, but no, dude, you're absolutely right.
And then you know, and I also didn't have a boy's name actually before. We had this other girl name picked out, but I didn't know what to name my son. And then it's actually because of this, you know, that's when Chance and I really get into this. You know, we'd already been kind of discussing our Shakespeare stuff for a while. Him a little more in depth of the nitty gritty of all the details, and I on this more broader question of things. And one of the things that really got me into this, you know, there's you know, everyone probably knows Mark Twain if you're in the American audience, but Mark Twain, one of his books, one of his essays they don't ever really publish is called "Is Shakespeare Dead?" And it's him kind of going through the questions about the authorship of Shakespeare, right? And you know, so I was just kind of like rereading this piece again, and you know, thinking about Mark Twain, and you know, the name Sawyer popped up, you know, Tom Sawyer, and I was like, you know, my middle name is Thomas, and this is kind of pertinent to everything we'll talk about maybe later. But yeah, I thought the name Sawyer was just like real badass. I was like, dude, if I have a son, I'll name him Sawyer. Like that's freaking perfect. And lo and behold, 5 days later, that's what I got. So you know, shout out to my boy there, my oldest son. And you know, I wasn't, you know, and this it's just one of these slow steps into the larger story.
How old's your son? If you don't mind me asking.
Now 4.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason mine's 13. So.
Yeah, I know you were talking about him. Yeah, your son is able to ride e-bikes, but no, my son still got training wheel bikes. So
mine just they just had their first football game on Monday. He's one of the biggest boys on his damn team. It's weird. He's taller than my dad already. He's not taller than me. I'm 6'1", so he's got a little ways to go. But I think he's going to be bigger than me. My grandfather was 6'7".
No, yeah.
6'7".
Give him that raw milk.
There you go. That's proof I have a 13-year-old.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Sorry, yeah. I'm a little silly. I'm a little silly, Brady. I'm sure you've gotten that from the show name, Gods of the Morning Wood.
No, it's all good. I actually did a whole stream on that 6'7" meme.
Brady's part of Gods of the Morning Wood. Tune in Saturday mornings. It's a Patreon show, so he could also put it on his Patreon as well. We go live for a few hours. I'm thinking would y'all want to do like an hour and a half or like half of the time on a book and then kind of talking? I don't know. Is 2 books too much? I was going to talk to you on the back channels, but I figured I'd ask you because I don't know. That's kind of what we used to do would just be one book at first, and it seemed to I don't know, maybe carry more weight for the episode because we're just talking about one thing the whole time. So maybe we could try it. I don't know, but yeah, y'all tune in Saturday mornings, 9:00. Brady will be there. The natural selectionist will be there. Headless, hopefully, he'll be there in his crutches. Zarelath, and then Stein Fox from the Greyhorn Pagans, and I believe Stein will be there this Saturday. If I read the date right, that he said he's available till I'm hoping, because he has to go back out of town, I think. But in September, well, it's about to be September, so yeah, he'll be there as well. Also started doing a show called Occult Cinema. I need to get you on for that as well. I've had about 6 episodes, but it's also a Patreon show, meaning that we do stream it live, usually just to Rumble, because you can't do it to YouTube with a movie. But it's fun, dude. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, love me some movies, and so my man Chan's over here is like the movie guru as well, not just the Shakespeare literature man, but yeah, he knows more movies and more things about movies than anybody I know. But yeah, that's good. That'd be something fun to do. And so yeah, so other than this sort of slow dipping your toes in and then all of a sudden cannonballing in, maybe was there any other major catalysts or any major ahas that you can kind of think of, or is there any bizarre or weird synchronicities that you kind of maybe pushed you over the line? Anything personal that you'd want to share anyway in this vein of getting connected with Odin?
Well, with this tie that I felt to probably canines, but the wolf archetype. I was in plays up until the 8th grade, because then I started smoking weed and skateboarding and playing drums. So I stopped doing theater. But for about 4 or 5 years, I did theater as a kid, because I went to a public school in Jackson. So in order to go to a good public school, which there are none, it was a performing arts school, and I didn't play drums yet. So I didn't know I was musically inclined yet. And so I went for theater, and my first play ever, which I only did maybe 7 or 8. I don't even think 8, probably about 7 plays. I got paid for a few of them. That was cool. And I got to be in one where I got to cuss a bunch as a kid with a bunch of adults. That was cool. But my first play ever was Peter and the Wolf, and I played the wolf. There's no lines or anything. It was dance and music. Very weird, pretty funny now looking back. Maybe find a picture. And then my wife as well has been tied. Feels like she's been tied to the spirit of the wolf. Her screen name back when we were teenagers, we've known each other since we were 12, 13, was She Wolf. And then I got a giant wolf head tattooed on my stomach, for anyone that wants to see. Little nudity there for you. About 5 years ago. So before my podcast, before I even looked into any of this kind of stuff, knew what archetypes even probably were, right? I was still learning a lot, and that's another thing is you're constantly learning. So I always want to put that out there. If there's things that I'm ever wrong about, I'll always go back and reiterate and correct myself, or I'll humble myself, let someone else correct me, to be honest with you. But that was one thing. And then when I experienced the gods in Virginia, I talked to Aseric Media about this on stream a couple weeks ago, because it was to one of his meditations, his Voluspa meditations that he has. He has a couple on YouTube, and then he has one that's the Havamal. But I went out and played that, and the reaction I got from a wolf pack howling at me, and then I howled with them. Yeah, man, it's over. I'm sure there's a lot more I'll be able to think of. I should make a list.
Definitely make that list.
I used to make lists as a kid. Clear sign of autism. But yeah, so that, and then just the tie that I've felt also that I've had to the Norse pantheon. one pantheon that I've never really, like I said earlier, once I got to the Greek and Roman pantheons, I started to kind of be like, well, wait a minute, this god could be considered either this one, or this doesn't align with this as it does in this other, So then I started to, but it wasn't until Micah Dank came on. Shout out Micah, ex-Freemason guy. He's pretty cool. He came on and talked about astrotheology, and dude, that was the turning point right there, where I was like, wait a minute, I may be wrong. there's way many other ways to interpret these stories. And I'm obsessed with occult symbolism, the Phrygian hat representing our pancreas, the Holy Grail representing the bottom of our skull and our spinal column. So like body occultism, I guess you could say. What would it be like? The occult anatomy. We did a book on that on Gods of the Morningwood. It was pretty cool. But also you'll see like the hand of Sabazius is like an ongoing theme on my show that I use a lot. Yeah, dude, the blessed hand that I also think the gangster disciples use for pitchforks. That's a conspiracy theory of mine. We did on I grew up in gang culture, going to school in Jackson, Mississippi, public school. We did Patreon episodes, I think of a couple on like gang symbols, basically how it's just a giant sigil war, and that it's all Abrahamic too. You have like the folk nation is all like more based towards Judaic symbols, the Star of David and stuff like that. And then you have the Islamic symbolism on the People's Nation. It's fascinating, dude. It's like, dude, this was the tribe definitely had something to do with this creation, because I think early on gangs may have been created to teach young men in the community back in like the 30s, the 20s and 30s. Maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably that far back. How to be better men, maybe, and not. But then you have thug culture and all that came with it, and infiltration by the feds, most likely, right? Many such cases. But with the symbolism, dude, it's crazy because we kind of see that played out throughout history. You see it in World War II, especially because in occultism, you'll see the hexagram of Solomon, and which people call the Star of Renfam. That's not what it is at all. Just like Moloch isn't a fucking deity. It's a type of burnt offering. It's a sacrifice. It's a Molech ritual. But yeah, dude, it's so I'm when it comes to that, that's always been something that I've been all about ever since the beginning of Greypilled, to be honest with you. More than anything else, I was reading Manly P. Hall treatises, it's plural form, very early episodes. But over time, I had to go back and read a bunch of them on Gods of the Morningwood just to better understand. It's like I said, that's part of the journey, part of the podcasting journey, but part of the spiritual journey as well.
Yeah, I think the what was it like in World War II specifically for the hand gestures? I think maybe it was Aleister Crowley that was consulted about, like, hey, we need like a hand symbol to counteract the Germans and their sort of hailing, right? And maybe that's like when the peace sign comes up, right? Is that they're trying to find their sigil to use and to kind of counter magic the other person or whatever.
Well, that's what I was saying. They had the hexagram of Solomon with the swastika, right? Which is an ancient symbol for the eternal sun. That's been subverted completely. Same with the Sonnengrad. Same with a lot. Most Germanic symbols are deemed like some kind of white power extremist group, hate group symbol, and put on the ADL list as a hate symbol. But so are the 14 words, which is ridiculous. And I think anyone of any race would want to secure a future for their children. But it's funny how it's deemed hateful when whites want to do it,
Yep.
And that's something else that you'll see, man. That's another thing that'll wake you up. It's just like a little bit of race realism mean, it kind of comes with it. You know, you start to realize these things, and you're like, well, why are we pushed back on so much? Why is our European culture demonized so much? And you start put all these things together, and it makes a lot more sense when you look at it outside of that echo chamber, right?
And they're slowly
yeah, man.
trying to do that, you know, trying to, maybe not appropriate Shakespeare, but they're trying to do something like, you know, fix it or, you know, make it modern and all that sort of stuff, right? Make it palatable, you know, fix all the problems with it, so to speak, you know, when it's obviously like they probably just don't know how to read and just don't know how to analyze things properly a lot of the times.
You blew my mind with the Hamlet thing. I was telling my wife about that. I was like, I don't think she's seen The Northman.
I gotta watch The Northman.
Oh, it's great. I've seen it, I think twice. I've seen it once, and then we watched it on stream. I don't think it was in a cult cinema, but it was definitely, I'm pretty sure we did a watch party of it. I could do it again, to be honest with you. I like the damn movie so much.
That was kind of a movie that before I was even into paganism or whatever heathenry, that was a movie I definitely watched and kind of walked out of the theater with my cousin. Was like, would it be kind of like funny or kind of cool to like be pagans again or whatever? And like, wasn't even being serious, you know. It was just kind of saying, and then no, like a couple years later, yeah, here I am. So it definitely activated, I think, some people in a sense, you know. And I think Eggers had said like, oh, I don't want it to be a rally call for.
Dude,
you know, for white power people or something like that. That's not even where I'm coming from in this vein either. But it's just like, yeah, the symbols were really powerful and very, very well done movie.
What happens when the subconscious picks up on those symbols and these stories, these myths, and you know, that DNA memory activates, bro? Like, I'm sorry, but I think what we need now is that warrior spirit, that young Wotanic energy.
Yeah, dude, the spear dancer scene, you know, like, yeah, Zerlath is in his good breakdown of the movie. He was like, I bet they did some real research and they put some real stuff in here, but they probably didn't show the whole thing because, yeah, they don't activate too much of it, you know, but yeah, get enough of it in there to make it enticing. But yeah, that spear dancer scene, like, whew, good stuff.
Yeah, man. And one thing that really probably was the catalyst for my path down ancestral faith was the Volsunga saga. And reading that, we read it on Gods of the Morning Wood, and I could not fucking believe what I was reading. I was like, why wasn't I given this as a young boy, as a young lad? You know? Why? Because I grew up my younger life getting in trouble. We'll just say that, having run-ins with the law and living a thuggish lifestyle, you know. And if I was to be given that at a young age, I don't know. I think it would have inspired something in me. But I think I encountered everything I did in my past just to get to where I am today. So I don't ever regret anything. But that story really touched something inside of me, dude. And after that, I'd started reading the Eddas, and I wish I read more. It's not happening right now because of the heat and work, dude. I'm cooked most days. Like it is hot as hell today, and I'm happy to be here, but it's hot as hell in this garage, dude. I have to get a better AC or something if I'm gonna do this for another year, which I do plan on it. There's days I've felt like kind of hanging it up, Brady. But
just getting two birds stoned, you know, just count that as your sauna or something. Like, you may have to go full Zerlath and take the shirt off and, you know, get us fully kicked off of YouTube.
I've done it. I've done it, dude. I've done it.
But yeah, you know,
dude.
There's something about a lot of that media. Yeah, like you're saying, the Volsunga saga. You know, I love reading that Voluspa over and over and over again. And you know, once again, yeah, reading certain things or even hearing into the tongue has always been really fun. And yeah, I feel like I feel like, and maybe Shakespeare, I can plug this into it, because I feel like, this Shakespeare is like a total departure from, this idea of like, oh, we're Renaissance now, where all that stuff is old and barbaric and kind of in our past. And we're, especially in the United States, maybe, that we are just so divorced from a lot of that context. And so, you get into talk with Europeans sometime and like, why are you so stupid? And it's just like, dude, blame our education system. Like, it's terrible over here. We don't get the right. We don't get the right stuff. They're just making us feel bad for the for the Civil War still. And so, there's just a lot of context that we're missing. Of course, like one of the favorite ones, maybe when you're first trying to pitch a heathen worldview, or just some of the little the lingerings about, right, just this day of the night that we're operating on, right, like Wednesday once was called Wodan's dog, right? And so, from Frigg's Day or Thor's Day and all that sort of stuff, and Tyr's Day or Tuesday, and and it's just that, well, how come if we're just so sophisticated now, if we're just so put that barbaric past behind us, like how come we didn't change the names of the days of the week? Like, you think that we would have totally, kind of dropped it at some point, and maybe the South Germans did, right? I think, they had, instead of Wednesday, now have Mittwoch, which is like middle week. But it's just like, we still haven't really gotten away from it. And I think I've read other places that other systems have tried to get away from the 7-day system, and it just never seems to really work. But for us, like, hey, dude, Odin is still here. Like, you say Odin, like, at least once a week, probably, in reference to your day-to-day profane life, So I just find it fascinating how that remains here. And once again, I have a whole pitch about, how the word God is related to the word Goth. And, like, where the heck did they get their name from? Well, they're like the Goths or Gutans. They're like, oh, well, our mythic ancestor, that's where we got our name from. We got his name from our name, from him, and his name was Got. And so it's like, what do all those words mean? Oh, we think it means to, like, liberate or poor. It's like, you're telling me the word God first appears in the Gothic Bible, and that all the etymologies are the same thing, and that Galter is one of Odin's most frequent names in the skaldic literature. So I've kind of joked that does Odin get like a royalty every time we say God? And if we've just been like not really putting the right proper energy into it all the time, or maybe that's why he just never really stuck to, right? That's why the Europeans are tearing at the seams psychologically speaking. That's what kind of Nietzsche, I feel like, was talking about. Maybe this sort of thing that we've got this like other energy, this other spirit, but we've got this other complex, this Christian complex that is just not compatible, and at some point we're gonna go crazy, essentially, right? So
you got to learn how to control your Fenris, dude. Most people don't understand. We have these. I do believe we have a daemon, a guardian spirit that is with us. But people think they're easy to manipulate. They're easy to kind of you see what happens with religion. I think people's you can get spiritually hijacked, right? And I'm not saying some entity comes in there. I'm saying you do it to yourself, right? I don't think most people understand what it means to be baptized, right? Or to be converted means to, like, you don't have to be converted to paganism, right? It's just like natural order, your natural way of being, And so I've heard that the baptism is like a extinguishing of your pagan flame. That's what it was symbolic of, in a way. That's what I've read. But I know that baptisms go further and further back into the mystery schools. You had your lunar mystery schools and your solar mystery schools. The lunar dealt with water, the solar dealt with fire, right? So but that goes with a lot of things biblically. They come from a lot of these ancient mystery cults, or a lot of these ancient myths, as well as the names of a lot of things. I mean, you look at the goddess Eden, right? And you have the Garden of Eden, and you also have the Garden of Odinma. From, I think that's from the Bach saga. and all these different things. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If you're going to convert a mass population of people, wouldn't you put some things in their book that they recognize culturally? You know, that they go, wait a minute, I know that, right? That goes back to what my great grandfathers used to teach, you know.
I also
yeah.
found that there's this old lost play by Eupolis, an ancient Greek Athenian poet. And I've been wondering what to do with this for a while, but, you know, kind of going on this baptism thing, which is, you know, once again, dousing yourself in water is a little bit, if water's feminine, right? That's also kind of dousing yourself in a feminine energy. But there's this play that was called The Bapti, and baptism literally means like to dip something. So Bapti is the name of the play, and it's a lost ancient Greek comedy. Produced around the 400s BC, and apparently it satirized the effeminacy, private debauchery, and foreign religious cults practiced by elite Athenian men. So it's a little on the nose there, ain't
it? Yeah. You can usually trace all these rites back to these ancient mystery schools, dude. That's what got me. I started to learn about those. When you joined the Greypilled Patreon, it was like you're joining this mystery school in a way. Except we're not laying in coffins, jerking each other off, and telling our dirty little secrets.
Not you're a Patreon Plus member, but no.
Maybe later in the Discord. Who knows? No box sagaing here, guys. Sorry, you came to the wrong place. But what I did want to say is that there is a shadow that we keep with us, and a lot of people try to like remove that. Almost, if you want to look at it like a spiritually surgical removal of yourself, you know. And like they try to exercise. What happens when you exercise your guardian spirit from you, when you reject what you're like, I don't know, what is a part of you, you know? What does that do to the psyche? What does that do in a metaphysical sense? I think it's dangerous, and I think that people, like I said, it seems that people are very easy to deceive, and that this knowledge, a lot of it, was kept secret for a reason. You know, and early on in my show, I was like, you know, that's not right. But now I kind of get why. You know, because it's not really for everyone, unless you're out there seeking it, or you're out there experiencing it, you know. But I see a lot of people make themselves prone to what I had said, spiritual hijacking, because I do believe in the spiritual realm. I do believe that demons are created. Like the opposing thing from a daemon would be a demon, I guess. That's where that word goes back to, though, and that's another thing. What happens when you make your daemon something, this dark, evil demon, you know, that you're supposed to fear?
Rather than it being this sort of old etymology of like a force, you know, like a
force that protects you, right? The same goes with, you know, I talk about this a lot. There were more Molech sacrifices done to Yahweh than Baal. You know, like, so the fact that most people don't see that in itself, Yahweh comes, he's a lesser deity in another pantheon. And so what happens when you give your all to a God of firstborn sacrifices? The All-Father demands us to sacrifice things in our life of ourselves, right? To better ourselves, to gain something. To further connect with that divine force. And so it's just kind of, I don't know. I just hate to see what happens when people kind of let the narrative be told for them and they don't experience it themselves. I mean, if you fear something your whole life, and you will never experience it, and you most likely weren't told the truth about it. But I don't know, most people say it's better to be safe than sorry, but I just I don't know. I'm one that's kind of always been seeking the truth. So I'm just not going to stop at one thing, always learning. Because the truth is always kind of, it's like ever changing in a way, you know, like as history goes on, it seems to me more and more things we understand, more and more things are uncovered, and they're trying to act. I do believe that they're trying to, like the shit with the horses, man, like they're trying to kill all the wild horses. Why? You know, to replace them with something artificial or some other idea of a horse that they create and we have to accept is a horse when we know, like, hey, this isn't a horse, dude. You know, it's the same with, I think what they're doing with a lot of forests. They want to create, and that's so we can't sustain ourselves in the wilderness. We can't live off the land. We can't have like natural resources and stuff, dude. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately.
And, you know, I've heard people point out, it's like the year of the horse itself, too, that they're kind of having these sort of mass roundups. And, you know, I tried to look in the past, like, yeah, have they done these mass roundups before? And, like, yeah, they kind of have. And, yeah, they kind of have it. Maybe definitely not this horrific degree. They're using, like, helicopters to, like, traumatize these horses or whatever and do all this stuff. But, yeah, like you were just saying there, that they're killing going back to your spirit world metaphor here, that attacking the spiritual essence of the horse, right? Which has so much connotation, right? Not only is it this sort of steppe warrior thing, is it this kind of Thracian horse spearman thing? Is it like, you know, this idea of freedom or something like that too? And not only that, but it's a very impregnable animal, right? It's a very fertilic animal. Oh, that's the right word. But and so that the way that they're doing it is definitely causing everyone who's witnessing it a little bit of psychic trauma, as we, told this story. Maybe they've done it before, maybe it's been problems and blah, 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 blah. But there's so much goddamn open space in the United States. I doubt that, there's not some other solution to this or whatever at the same time. But, as people are like, oh yeah, because it's just, cattle, commercial cattle ranchers that, just want to use the land, or God forbid, some other freaking, tech freak that wants to do whatever the hell they're going to do with it, right? But just like you're saying there, though, by rounding up all the horses, what is it doing to our collective psychic spiritual essence, to this animal that we've been dealing with for so long? And they're
destroying the American egregore.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, the cowboy. You can't have a cowboy
Same
unless
thing that
he's
happened
got
in
his horse.
Rome, dude. Same thing that happened in Rome with the destruction of Rome and Greece and like all the great civilizations. They destroy it spiritually, conquer spiritually, right? And in doing so, you'll conquer the people. I think I tweeted once, we need to take back our symbols and our traditions, our heritage, our culture, not what they give to us as, hey, this is your culture, right? And what they present to us is Hollywood slop most of the time. And in taking back our symbols, culture, traditions, we will destroy our enemy. And so, I just think, it's easy. Most people think they're awake or they're waking up, some conspiracy. They're watching all these TikToks and shit, but they're slowly putting themselves back to sleep. That's what's going on. And I think that's planned. I think that's engineered through the algorithm and through disinformation, misinformation agents, what I like to call psy-slop. We call on Greypilled there, Brady.
Yep.
Forgive me for rambling, by the way.
No, it's good, man. Yeah, that's what you're the guest tonight.
So I haven't been on someone else's show in a while, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping from here to there. I figure all the stuff we're covering kind of has something to do with each other, No,
absolutely, because we're talking about Odin as being this pan-European, Northern European entity or whatever, right? Yeah, whether it be some spiritual essence that we were kind of discussing here, and that Odin's on his horse, right? He's definitely part of his motif, and as well as, as I'm looking into the Goths themselves. If you go look up any historical painting of the Goth, they're going to be on a horse. Like, all the time they're going to be on a horse, and even one of their etymologies that they'll kind of say is that Goths means, to pour or something, right? But then they also think it's literally of, like, pouring sperm, as in, like, they're they've got a lot of vitalness to them, right? They're very prolific in their spiritual energy and how they procreate and just, extend their will to everywhere, right? And so that's why the horse is so associated with that. So yeah, this idea of that, and I've got this working chapter in my book called Masks of Odin, where I'm talking about that the American cowboy is another representation of Odin, that he's kind of hiding beneath
the Wanderer. Yeah.
The hood of the American cowboy, right? Because not only obviously American cowboy on the horse, that sort of deal, but one time I was looking at the picture of the cowboy hat, right? You know how the brim kind of comes up like this, and I was like, dude, those look like the Viking horns on the American cowboy hat. Is those like upturned parts of the hat, the brim kind of folds upwards, and and what's a gunslinger known for, right? He's known for never missing, always hitting his target. What does Odin do with his spear? Gungnir never misses his target. And not only that, when you're aiming up a shot, what do you do with your eyes? You sacrifice one vision in one eye to gain better vision in the other. Exactly this other Odinic motif here again. So I've been sort of pitching or slowly building this case that, the American cowboy is this new iteration of the steppe warrior, essentially, right?
Yeah. Dude, and that image you showed me, I don't think you showed it to me. It's the one in the thumbnail. I think we pulled it up Saturday when we were reading the Eddic mythologies of Odin on the horse with the spear and the serpent. It's the Thracian rider. It's Sabazius on his horse, dude. And I've felt this, this kind of connection between the two deities. You have the hand of Sabazius, which the Christian church, I believe the Orthodox Church, turned into the blessed hand, right? And you see in most art illustrations as the hand of God. It's the hand of the Thracian sky father, Sabazius. Hail Sabazius. But I'll
throw it up on the screen.
You see that motif.
Keep talking.
Especially with the Phrygian cap on, dude. The Phrygian cap was a dead giveaway. Because it looks like a Phrygian cap. Then you notice that there's like a wolf's head on the end or something. I think it may be an eagle, but we can get back to that.
Yeah, here's the picture they were working for. This is from the Vindel Grafen, which is the Vindel grave find.
Go,
but yeah, there you can tell, like he was saying there's the snake,
cap,
and he's got the spear, he's got the horse, and I've got the article here for the Thracian horse riders here. So yeah, they have a bunch of them here on the bottom. Let me just scroll down. So yeah, we can kind of see all of them.
Keep that up. I'm gonna grab another LaCroix and everything. Yeah.
So, and of course, yeah, people might recognize this as the St. George iteration, right? That he's slaying a dragon here. And in some of these other Thracian horse ones, he's usually sometimes. Yeah, here we go. And some of these other Thracian horse riders here, that there's going to be a tree next to him, but there's a snake that is wrapped around the tree at the same time. So he's not always trampling the snake, but the snake is also definitely present in some of these motifs of this iconography here. Here's another one. Yeah, I forget what kind of tree this is. Gnostic Informant had a really, really fascinating Thracian scholar on here. So they were talking about this, and he talked about what this tree is. But yeah, in some of them, yeah, like I said, you'll see this this snake also in a tree with the Thracian horse rider. So he's not always trampling it sometimes, but and when it's trampling a snake, is he just trampling the telluric energy or something like that? Is this related to St. Patrick chasing out snakes or something? This is the one where he's got a hunting dog and they're hunting a boar here, I believe.
Wait a minute, I don't see it. I don't think.
I was sharing my screen on Discord. I don't know if you can see it on there.
Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, I think. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, sorry, I forgot we were on. Discord. Yeah, dude, and there's a stele of Sabazius from, I'm pretty sure, like 9,000 BC. Yeah, dude, and it has an algiz rune on it.
Oh, really? That's crazy. I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Wow, dude, that's beautiful. I love it.
So yeah, this is some of these other ones, these iconographies. They've got the snake in this particular tree here with the Thracian horse rider. Here's another good one here. You can clearly see the
That's
snake
in the
here.
9,000. That's in the 9,000 BC one as well. Yeah, man. The snake.
There you go.
The same
The
snake
algae
in the tree.
is basically that tree. Yeah, there you go.
Yep, it's the same snake in the tree you see in the Assyrian steles as well. Yeah, representing Thoth Ningajita, the the son that Enki had with his sister wife Ninmah. Here's the interesting thing about Ningajita is that this is the Hermetic Mercurian kind of archetype. And what do we know about Mercury?
Yep.
What does Tacitus say about Mercury and Odin? So it's just very and we know Thoth, Hermes, especially Hermes Trismegistus, to be this person that holds this divine knowledge, right? So see, yeah, that's the Phrygian cap. Even though he has a little animal head, that's definitely the Phrygian cap. So, or it may be a helmet. I'm just
and it's
wishful thinking.
both, I think, because in the Trajan column, I think they've got, it looks like it's a metal, plated almost Phrygian cap type of thing too, right?
Well, didn't you have people from Thracia migrate west as well?
Yes, and I actually have some of these things pulled up here because I was going to show you these maps because I talk about in my Nosferatu
when it became
stream,
Constantinople, right? Because that's when they killed all the pagans over there.
So
if you worship Sabazius,
so the Sabazius is definitely going to be associated also with the Gittae. So they're like this kind of sub-Thracian or maybe with the Thracian peoples essentially, right? And so Jordanus, he is a medieval guy, and he's going to write that actually the Goths are related to the Gittae. Although modern historians will be like, no, those are not the same. Even Gittae, Gutans, like no, they're not the same. But there's like 300-400 years separation there. But where's this dang picture? I'm looking. Oh, where's so Sabazius and is related to this guy named people think he's related to this deity named Zalmoxis. I don't know if you've heard about this guy before.
No.
He's kind of a Thoric kind of dude. So Zalmoxis, yeah, he's according to Gittae that they worshipped him, and yeah, what is he from a bear's skin? Apparently that he was born with. So you get a little bit of that berserker energy here. But one of the things that they do is that the Gittae is that they would to their oracles. What they would do is they would put some spears on the ground with the points sticking up, and they would take a dude and toss the dude onto the spears, and then be like, all right, when you get to Zalmoxis, tell him this or ask him these questions. And so it got to do with spears and yeah, some of these associations here. So
wow.
Yeah, this deity is pretty crazy. So look, even the Engling saga is maybe getting popped up here, but I haven't read these parts down here. I don't remember anything about it anyway.
We read a little bit from the Gesta Danorum, I think a few weeks ago. You may have been on there.
Yeah.
That's what Emlith saga.
Yep, that's the book 3 or whatever. So Zalmoxis is related to the Gittae and the Dacians. The Dacians, their name literally means like wolf people or something like that. They're all related to the Thracians, okay? And so they'll be like, so here up at the top, boom, 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 boom. So yeah, here's where the Gittae are from, right? Here's the Black Sea, Danube River, right here, just west of the Black Sea, right? Sure, it's a couple centuries apart when we'll get the Goths, because if Gittae are around like 300s BC, I want to say, and the Goths are getting mentioned by Tacitus in the 1st century. So yeah, here's where the Gittae are from. Here are where the I'm pretty sure we got the Dacians are from too. Where's the damn map I have pulled up here? So here's the Black Sea, same deal, right? All these sorts of areas and where they're all popping up from. And if we go to the Goths page here, boom, Black Sea. Here's this Werbach culture, and eventually the Goths are gonna move all the way over here into Spain and France and all that good stuff too, right? But it's just. Yeah, here's the Danube River, or maybe it's this one too. But regardless, it's just like, yo, dude, this is the same area that we're talking about, just west of the Black Sea, essentially.
Have you ever seen the movie? It's one of the Hercules movies. It's the one with The Rock in it.
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's actually fucking good, dude.
Oh, really?
It's actually good. So they're like helping the king of Thracia. And he's like, and it's funny that The Rock is they're like asking him if he's gonna keep fighting. He's like, I plan to move and settle towards the Black Sea. It's weird because then you have Tacitus talking about how they venerated Heracles as this Donar figure, right, or Thor figure, and his father as well, I believe. Or not. Oh, man, I forget who else it was. I don't know. I have to go back. It was during part 1 of the Germania. But I just found it interesting. And then he had like this group of people fighting with him. One was like from Sparta. One was a Scythian. One was, and it was a chick, some Scythian archer chick. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty good depiction. Like what I mean, I fell asleep. It was late, but it was a good movie from what I picked up. You know, it was like each myth, they would show him like fighting a great beast, but then it turned out to be like the serpent turned out to be men that wore like serpent helmets, right? And then they went to face the Centaurs who were attacking the Thracians because the Thracians described them as just, but they were like horse, like step riders, right? And then like you got to see that they weren't that they weren't centaurs or whatever. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool how they did that, you know. But
and the you know,
I love this though, dude.
The Hercules sort of crossover here, because you know they'll tell you that all the Hercules kind of worship gets everywhere, right? And that this I don't know if you've seen these chalk giants, and they're called chalk giants, and they're going to be in the UK. You might have seen this thing before, but they've got these big giant carvings in the hills in England. Oh man. Anyway. But yeah, you can kind of see that it's
that sounds like a slur for white people. Chalk giant.
I'll take that one.
For tall white
giant. But people have attested that.
Dude,
that this is maybe a Hercules syncretic thing kind of happening here.
Wow.
But you know, you can kind of see a big club
That's
thingy.
incredible.
Obviously, he's got his piece out, and same thing with
he was hard as a rock going into battle. He was so super bricked up, charging in. I mean, hey, dude. Especially if you have your bear skin on and you're, you know, berserking out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd expect you to be a little bricked up, you know. I don't know what that potion does to you.
Yeah, I've kind of likened it. Yeah, is it like a PCP type thing or something? You know.
Hey,
kind of get the retard strength.
Hey, dude, that's something we could look into maybe.
Stein and I did a whole thing called a stream on my channel. I have it named as the biomechanic of berserkers, and yeah, we kind of talk about. I have an essay that I pulled up about, you know, just the actual physiological biology of, you know, warrior states and frenzied warrior states, not just in the berserker thing, but also to deal with the descriptions of like Achilles in battle as well.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny. It's very funny that you bring this up. I planning on doing. I have a show that I'll be reading. This one, I guess you call it an essay or like a research paper on a cult. I can't remember the time period, but in the northern Black Sea region, a Sabazius cult. So, I don't know. That's it's pretty funny that we end up talking about this.
You've heard though that
who
is it? Like Plutarch says that they also confused. I think they kicked the Jews out of Rome at one point, and that they thought that they were worshiping a Jupiter Sabazius.
Dude, yes, I have seen that actually. He said that that one time Plutarch, I believe he equated Yahweh to Typhon, which is very interesting because I have a theory that Yahweh and Set may be one and the same, being that, you know, he was the god that rescued the Hyksos, because I don't believe Exodus happened. But the Hyksos are the closest thing to the Hebrews being in Egypt around that time.
Yeah.
A nomadic a very rebellious nomadic desert tribe. Sounds familiar. And so, who is the adversary to Osiris? The adversary to Upper Egypt? Set.
And I also like,
The one
Jesus
god who would oppose them.
is also associated with donkeys too, right? Comes right in on
Donkeys,
donkey.
dude, don't get me started. So
the first
all the way
image of Jesus is the graffiti of him with a donkey's head.
all the way up to the Pharaoh being drowned by the the Reed Sea, right? Because there was a mocking of the drowned god Osiris in the myth, what I believe is a myth. A mocking of Osiris. It's clear as day. The Pharaoh being drowned is like them going, "Ha, we killed your Pharaoh just like we killed your god."
Damn, that's fascinating. Yeah, I've definitely been hearing, the Hyksos related, because apparently Hyksos in, I don't know if that's a Greek word, but I think in the Egyptian context, that literally meant like foreigner or like bad, nasty person that we don't like. And if the Hyksos are maybe related to some of these sea peoples, maybe that were attacking Egypt too, it's just like, yo, y'all attacked us and we enslaved y'all's asses because y'all were trying to raid our shit.
Just like they did in Rome. Just like they did in Rome, they would show up very inconspicuously, right? Not with weapons or anything. And then they'd have rocks and sticks. I think in Rome, they called their sticks Israelites. Shout out Headless Giant for spitting this knowledge, but which they would end up beating pagans and philosophers with. But they didn't seem really to be intimidating at first, right? Until one of them throws a rock and then 5 of them throw rocks, and then you end up being stoned to death. This was a very common tactic in the early overthrow of Rome. I don't know if you read The Darkening Age, have you?
I used to have it, and then I don't know what happened to my copy of it. I had it a long time ago.
Very, very revealing book. But the early Christians were very close to communists, like almost identical in their tactics. Excuse me. Whoa, should have muted myself. Sorry, Brady. In their tactics to overthrow Rome. And for everyone wondering, no, I'm drinking San Pellegrino, taking a break from the seltzers. People know I do this every year. I like drink for half a year, and then I do kind of go sober. No, well, not
a tea break,
Yeah, yeah, a little break until the Yuletide.
Yeah, there you go. But, that's probably the better way to do it anyway.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Both. It's something me and my wife both do. We kind of look at each other and we're like, yeah, I don't want to drink anymore right now. And then it's something. It kind of the problem that I had with alcohol, I handled a long time ago. You know what I mean? So now it's kind of just if I want to do it, and because I do. I mean, I've talked about this on my show, probably not any time recently, but early on when I didn't have an audience yet, people were still getting to know me. I was on opiates for a while. I got clean back in 2018. So that's almost 10 years.
Dang, nice.
Almost 10 years. But yeah, dude, yeah. A lot of my friends weren't so lucky. This was before fentanyl was a thing. It was like a big thing, dude. It was just regular. Like I don't know how normal it would have been to like take a bump of heroin for somebody, but and it was kind of just like a party thing until it didn't become that,
Yeah, no kidding.
Put myself through hell, dude, but came out refined on the other side,
Yeah, sometimes you gotta have a catabasis. You gotta go down to the underworld and then, or come back up.
Dude, I experienced many dark nights of the soul, especially coming off that stuff, dude. I mean, it could kill you, I mean, that's how awful it is. I mean, you'd wish you were dead, but it's man. And to be honest, dude, I know some people who it's happened to later on in their life. I'm happy it happened. Not happy, but I'm grateful that it happened early on to teach me that lesson. When my son was real young, I didn't have my daughter yet. So you fuck with that shit now, though, dude, that's death. It's like certain death. It's like, do you want to die? There you go.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, dude.
I don't know if you've seen these guys before. So this is Herodotus. He's talking about the Scythians, and he mentions. I brought this up with Zarelath, but he mentions.
I haven't read much Herodotus, but I'd like to.
He mentions these people related to them, and the upper parts, which tend inland Scythia, is bounded, as we know, by the Agatharcians, first being the Ister, then by the Neroi, after which the Adrophagoi, and lastly by the Melancothio. I'm not going to do that Greek right now. But anyway, when he gets down here, when he talks about the Neroi again, kind of being hanging out with these Scythians, or like, at least semi-related, he says the Neroi practiced the Scythian customs, and one generation before the expedition of the Darius, it is befell them that they were forced to quit their land altogether by reasons of serpents. For their land produced serpents in vast numbers, then they fell upon them in still larger numbers from the desert country above their borders, until at last, being hard pressed, they left their own land and settled among the Bindunoi. But here's the interesting part. These men, it would seem, are wizards, for it is said of them by the Scythians and by the Hellenes, who are settled in the Scythian land, that once in every year of each of the Neroi becomes a wolf for a few days, and then returns again to his original form. For my part, I do not believe them when they say this, but they say it nevertheless and swear it moreover. But, does that kind of remind you of the Mannerbund type thing, or kind of, men putting on, or like the Volsunga saga, right? The guys putting on wolf pelts or something and kind of losing themselves or being a little...
Yeah, dude, you had Sigmund and Sifjotli, his first son, who he had to give away to Odin on a boat. He actually ended up losing all his sons up until Sigurd. It's kind of crazy because that's what happened to him with his brothers, except they were taken by King Sigurd's mother, who is a wolf woman. We have a design on Gods of the Morningwood, wolf bitches of Jutland. So we also have the wolf bitches of Thessaly.
It's good.
Just shape-shifting wolf women. Yeah. But that's interesting, dude. Yeah, you find that archetype.
And sorry, I thought I had one more maybe wolf transformation thing. Nope, not a good day. No, this
I'll have to look back at that, dude. That was some interesting stuff. What is on? What is this?
This website just called sacred-text.com. I think I just type in Herodotus and read Herodotus, and yeah, this one's kind of cool, yeah, because it actually does have the dual translation, so you get your Greek over here on the right.
Fuck yeah.
I thought I had one more interesting thing related to this wolf transformation thing or whatever, how it connects to, obviously this Odin Thracian step connection essentially, but I'm kind of losing train of all my tabs I got.
But with the sword, say I think it's Sigmund, yeah, who has a sword called Graham, and yeah, him and his son Sifjotli put the wolf skins on, and they go in and just them two slay. They kill like 100 men, just them two.
Man, I can't find it. Well,
but it's almost as if I was going to say it's almost as if Sigmund kind of inherited that wolf energy from the she-wolf that he killed, that he ripped her tongue out of her mouth.
Yeah, that's right.
She killed his 9 brothers and then went to licking his mouth because his sister, what's her name? Signy, his sister wife. She came and put honey all inside his mouth. So when the she-wolf came, she licked it all out of his mouth, and he just, like a boss, just grabbed, ripped her tongue right out of her mouth. So.
It reminds me of those old, I don't know why this reminds me of it. You remember those old memes, like 2010, 2011, and it would be, there was a meme that was called Insanity Wolf. and it was just like this wolf.
I don't know. If you showed it to me, I'd probably
It
recognize
was this wolf, and there would be like kind of violent punchlines, and it's like, what's a way to a girl's heart? Through her chest, something like that. Let's see. Okay, now I'll
I
bring
didn't
it
even
back
think
to
to read the chat, dude.
Yeah, they've
Shout
been
out
going
Meta
off.
class.
Yeah. And Jason here's been sharing some good stuff. He showed a Dr. Sledge video
up, Jason?
connecting Yahweh and Set and the Demiurge.
Glad you guys chose to come hang out. Like I said, my audience is much smaller than it used to be.
Now, relating it back to some of the spirit answer stuff and some of the, talking about the Northmen, talking about the Berserker, Ulfhednar transformation, right? So this came, I found this on I feel like almost a year ago, actually. I've only recently, I went and checked it just this last 24 hours because I knew we would do something. So I was like, oh, let's go check this, if anything ever turned up from this, because I kept seeing this image floating around. And they're like, look, we found this thing in Kent. It's a bracteate of a spear dancer. And this is different than the ones that people might recognize from the Torslunda plates. Okay? And these are going to be from Sweden, right? So these are the ones we more or less know from. Yeah. We got our spear dancer, and people think that this is a Ulfhednar right here, a werewolf berserker right there. He's got the pelt, mask on right here. And so, yeah, this is, if you go watch the Northmen, right, you got there's like the Raven helmet and the Spear Dancer thing. But I kept seeing this image floating around.
I want that helm.
Right. And I kept seeing this image floating around on the internet, but with no real news story attached to it. I just kept seeing on blogs and stuff like that, and be like, look, we found another one, but way over in Kent, way over in England. So not even in Sweden. We found one in England, which would be really fucking cool. But I was never able to find out if it was real or what it was. And so, but actually, so I went and looked recently, and turns out, yep, it actually was actually legit. They actually do have real news stories from it now. So it's a rare 6th, 7th century Anglo-Saxon die stamp. And how
6, 7?
Oh no.
I'm sorry. It's fine.
And so yeah, this is one of these pieces that would have been on the side of the helms for something like the Sutton Hoo helmet, right? But yeah, it's so freaking cool that they actually did find it in England, so, way across the way, and just, reaffirms more of these motifs that are hanging around in Anglo-Saxon England time, right? So yeah, here you can kind of see
the best aesthetic, dude. The best. I need that.
So yeah, here you can kind of see this is more of a, I'm not sure what kind of helmet.
Notice how that plate's silver.
And you can kind of see these. Remember those helmets we were looking at earlier from this? Oh no, where was it? Remember this one, right? So he's got that helmet. We were wondering if it was a Phrygian helmet or not. But take a look at these, right? So it's the same thing. But are they Raven helmets? Are they Phrygian caps? Like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
I don't know. Maybe they were just making the shape of it.
That seems to be because like
Oh,
go ahead.
Hold on. No, you're good, dude. I was going to say something else about the Thracian rider. If you look at it, you can see in the Thracian rider the hand of Sabazius itself. It's pretty interesting. I could send you the little file that I have on it.
You could throw it in the Discord chat, and I think I can blow it up, maybe.
Okay, cool. Fuck yeah. There was one other image that I wanted to see. The Phrygian cap also correlates to the seahorse, the hippocampus. Is that it? It has to be. Yeah. Sorry, I was just making sure. It's something to do with the pancreas, though. Same shape as the pancreas. We'll pull this up. Yeah, that's the hippocampus. Which there's a part of your brain called the hippocampus. That's the half horse, half dolphin. right? The seahorse. Here we go. Phrygian cap. And this is on Mithras, I believe. Let me go over to Discord real fast. Where? Just in the what chat?
If you go to our chat, like in our actual screen on Discord, where you and I are talking, or whatever, in the top right, there should be like a little speech bubble. You can hit that, and then either drag it in there or copy and paste it in there, and then I can blow it up on my screen.
Okay. Here, let me copy image. Straight from my computer.
But yeah, just super cool. All these spear dancing themes, and yeah, connected with the wolf head Gnar, and yeah, can we get it all the way back to the to these Thracian guys?
I put it in, I put that image in the chat. It's just if you want to pull it up here in a minute. I'm about to look for
I'm gonna open up in my thingy so we can keep our face on here. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Also, well, no, never mind.
Mm.
Let me see. Yeah, here I have it right here. PDF. Thracian horseman. Yeah, we did. We did 2 parts on this.
Reminds me of speaking of the hippocampus, reminds me of these other Pictish animals, and this one particular animal actually. So if I can get that one up here too.
I don't think the hippocampus had anything to do with the Phrygian cap. I think I was just seeing it. Okay, so do I just need to share this?
Is it a PDF or is it a?
Yeah.
You can throw it in here.
Yeah,
I can if you can share your screen if you want. And I can blow you up, or if you want me just to pilot it, you can just do the same thing and throw it up in the thing.
I'm going to. I don't know if it'll. How do I copy it into the chat?
If you're on the file, you can just literally right click and copy it, or Control C, and then go to the chat and just as if you're gonna type something in the chat, and then just hit right click paste or Control V.
Okay.
And it should depends on if it's PDF. It might be like your PDF's too big for Discord. So otherwise, if you're not paying for Nitro or whatever.
Your PDF is too big.
Yep. So you can open up on yours, and then at the very bottom there's a share screen button, so you could do that, and I can blow you up so that way you're on.
I got it. Okay. Oh. Okay. It's real fast.
Mythos says, I got into this way of thinking about blood types and bloodlines. Here's some food for thought. Like, what blood type is a Minotaur or a Cyclops? We talk about the reptilians, but what type are they? And, you know, yeah, the Minotaur is a good question because Zarelath and I talked about the Minotaur, and, yeah, Minos, and I don't remember his wife's name, but, you know, she gets busy with a bull, literally. Someone makes her a furry suit, basically, of a bull, so that way the Cretan bull will get it on with her.
No, that's not the right thing.
Go to the bottom and then hit the button again, or do where you free? Yeah, do that. Hit do stop streaming, and then
stop streaming. Okay,
and then do it again.
Yeah, hold on. So how do I?
Or do you have your PDF open?
Yes. Yes, I do have it open.
Zarelath is
share
in the
my
chat.
screen. What's up, Z? Shouts out Zarelath. Make selection. Share this window. No, I don't want to share this window. It says share this window or share all application windows.
Yeah, you should just be like, yeah, click share a screen, and usually it lets you pick which stream or which window you have open, and if you have make sure you open up the PDF, that it's open somewhere, that you actually have it clicked open, and then you should be able to use that one. But yeah, y'all should go check out my Man and Beast stream that I did with Zeralath maybe like a month ago. But we talk about the Cretan Bull, and we talk about something like the mixing between peoples and stuff like that, and what does that mean sometimes. But yeah, that's a good question. Between the and humans have hemoglobin, red iron blood, while some animals on Earth have actual blue blood, like octopi or squid. They have something different than us. They have blue blood. Oh, ooh, whoa, dude, that's crazy. Blue-blooded, dude, that's wild. That's in, you know, how the squid and the octopus is such a motif for, you know, controlling things, right? That for controlling, you know, the world powers, and how the tentacles have reached out and infested
the Hydra.
things. Yeah, kind of a Hydra thing too,
Yeah.
right? Another the Hydra, or the there's another seven-headed serpent sea monster thing that the Thor figure is always fighting, oftentimes, right? Kind of, and it's always the sea monster. It's always a sea monster too. It's called hemocyanin. It's copper-based blood. Frogs have it too. This is some old word research, so I might forget most of it. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, frogs. You know, frog and the Pepe thing, kind of being associated with chaos magic, and I don't know. And,
Apep and chaos. Yeah, dude.
oh, I have seen this image before that you're showing on screen, right? Yeah, the algae thing and the snake. There was a dude on YouTube who was talking about this, actually. Because it reminds me of the Snake Woman too. There's the Snake Woman iconography of the lady holding two snakes, and someone wondered if the thing in the middle is a person, and are they holding a snake or controlling it? Is the other thing like a bird or something?
Yeah. Yeah, this just proves, that's a bird on the right. This proves that the runes been here a lot longer than, you know, one of the stone stelae from 9,000 years ago BC. And the later ones from Sumer, a motif is preserved. Yeah. Let's see though. This is great to do on a live stream. Yeah, the tree symbolizes the all-penetrating and all-embracing spirit of life, the God which gives life to the earth and sky, its guardians and patrons. The spiritualism of the earth and the sky is a step toward the origination of the idea of the so-called Great Mother and Father. Yeah, so this just goes through these different reliefs and different depictions. This is talking about something. Talking about the heroes and how, let's see. In the tombstone images from Western Asia Minor, the departed person who is said to be a hero can never be seen on a horse. The horse is without the horseman. It is depicted either next to him or outside of the premises, within the window frame. Next to him there is always the tree with the serpent, his present. The horseman himself is often identified with the snake, and his image is missing from the relief. There starts talking about the Thracian rider. Then it starts to talk about Zagreus, Dionysus, Sabazius, the cycle. It's kind of like, it's a little bit, you know, like that, like the Trinity, right? Like you have birth, here you go, birth, fertilization, and the fruit-bearing part of the year.
Zagreus is the young baby version of Dionysus who gets ripped apart by the Titans. Kept apart, or kept kind of whole by Apollo, and then sewn into Zeus's thigh. reborn as Dionysus, basically. But yeah, kind of that Osiris myth too, right? Kind of getting chopped up.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Zeus, dude. That was one, Zeus, right? It's one way how you would say his name. Because the serpent, as it talks about in here, is the union of Sabazius and Zeus.
That image on the far left of that dude's wearing a Phrygian cap too.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is, sir. And this is representing, okay, that's the hand. I don't know if you can see it, the fingers right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have the snake. Do you see how the picture itself is the actual hand? Does that make sense?
Shit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah, man. They would do that. So the Thracian rider is somehow like that. It's just I don't know if we're seeing it all, or maybe it's. I love the occulted imagery though. This is pretty cool. Look down here. What does that guy have on his head? Wings?
Well, okay, so yeah, you see that guy with the two, the animal ear looking thing. Well, yeah, just if you look at the spear dancer ones, or even all these plates we're looking at, if you look at even the Torslunda spear plates, they kind of have those ears that look like that. Actually, they're actually more downturned, and even the one that I just showed you from Kent, he does kind of have to seem to have these like kind of fox ear things or whatever.
That's so fucking cool, dude.
Here, I'll
yeah, look.
Let me just show you real quick, and then I'll give it back to you. Don't click away, but here, I'll just show everyone real quick on mine, and you can see mine too. You can kind of see the spear dancer, right? Isn't it the same kind of ears? Of course, they're turned down, and the one I'm showing, right? But isn't those the same kind of ears if I just flip them upwards?
Hold on, let me see. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's the Torslunda one, kind of the same thing, right? these ears that are down here, or whatever these are. Kind of reminds me of that, though.
You're right. Let's see. So, yeah, but this, like I said, I did part 1 and then part 2 not too long after. They were originally on Patreon. Well, the first one did it. People liked it so much when I read the first half of this that I just let it be public. But then the second one went to Patreon for a little bit. I really want one of these, Sabazius cast hands. So then it gets into Dionysus. And then Mithra's slaying the bull, which is slaying Sabazius. See, look right here. Nama Sabazio on the bull. Yeah. Is the bull which Mithra kills really the image of Sabazius? What should a relief show so that it is certain that Mithra kills Sabazius?
Dude, okay.
Of course, the very act of the...
Zoom in on the bull's head real quick. The one on the left.
Yeah.
So the horns.
I got you.
Isn't that... And look at the downturned ears. The downturned ears. Like, that's the bull's ears, right? Isn't that the same thing?
Yes. Let's fucking go, dude. Me and you need to do more of these streams. We should do this where we just get into just like, I don't know. Like I told you earlier, dude, cult symbolism and finding shit like this is what gets me like, not all the way bricked, but not like enough to be gay. So. But I was going to bring up, because I brought up Patreon. I will be reading Temple of Wotan on Patreon soon if you want to join me. I want to stay true to the Patreon people that have supported me for over 2 years and do a show exclusively for them. So, and that's something kind of personal that I could do just on the Patreon if they want to hang out or, participate in the conversation, they're more than welcome to. But have you ever read that?
I don't think I have. No. Is there like
Here.
is that a dog at the bottom there too, and like kind of trying to claw its way up or something? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So this is the Thracian rider, basically, right? In the Thracian rider image, you have, it's not a serpent. It's a dog or a beast, right? You're slaying the beast. It's the same as Christ, or, you know, stepping on serpents, or Zeus crushing Typhon with the mountain, or, you know, Osiris or Ra slaying Apep. I think it's Ra. Sigurd slaying Fafnir. You know, like it's that whole symbolism. The hero's journey, right? Destroying your lower nature, or not destroying. You don't want to destroy your lower nature. You can't destroy it. It's part of you. So you conquer your lower nature. So, you know, contain your Fenris. But as Zeralaf likes to say.
And the bull is sometimes associated with the female too. You know, its horn sort of being like the lunar eclipse thing as well. But yeah, I've seen the bull energy being attested to female stuff. So, and Mithraicism was forbidden to females, I believe, too, right?
And Mithras took over like as a cult in a lot of areas too. We had a guy on the Occult Rejects talking about all about Mithras, and he was talking about how the black nobility families, he didn't say that obviously, but the Venetian banking families in particular had their own cults of Mithras. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to go underground with it when they start fucking, you know, burning you at the stake for it, right? Like, I don't put it past them. I mean, look, if they, obviously there are elites out there that have their own kind of weird underground sex cults, or what, you know, and we know that there's people out there that do sick shit, right? We're not saying, I like to remind people on my show that, like, I'm not saying that, you know, there's not that, but I mean, look at the Process Church, for instance. Like, who are the four gods that they worship? I'm pretty sure it's like Jesus, Jehovah, Satan, and some maybe Lucifer. You know, like, but it's in an Abrahamic context. You know what I mean? Like, it's just all in the, dude. It's so, like, there are elite groups out there that worship dark deities, right? Or maybe into some weird shit that in which they venerate the deity, or entity, what have you. But when I say cult, I just mean, you know, obviously someone who started it in mostly underground group, dedicated to one purpose. But I don't know. Some people hear the word cult and they run the other way. I think we have to bring some of the mystery cults back, dude.
First rule of cult, secret cults, is you don't talk about secret cult, though, right? You know.
There we go. So we're not bringing them back. This conversation never happened. Sorry about that. Oh man, yeah, it's super long, dude. But it just talks about what's this image? A more detailed description. That's talking about the murder of Sabazius. Sabazius shown with an eagle on his left shoulder, holding in his left hand a tree around which a snake is coiled. An eagle and a snake, the sky and the earth. Zagreus, born out of the union between the sky and the earth, dies as Sabazius, with the father and the mother being by his side again. The sign of the sun is shown on Sabazius' chest. Yeah, right there. Right there. I don't know. Anyway, I know we are getting away from. Oh, would you look at that? What do we have there? Do you see? Got a Swazi. on a Sabazius Mithra's stele. Wow.
Well, in the I do have the Bracteate pulled up here because I was gonna eventually bring it up, but that's a perfect actual reference. So the oldest runic inscription we actually have that references Odin is on the Vindeliv Bracteate X13, and it also, so it's a gold disc thing, and it famously says, maybe it says, I am, or he is Wodan's man, or Wodanaz's man. He is Woden's man, but on it, it is a swastika.
Yeah.
Or is it?
And that's another thing that's been demonized, and
Here we go.
Put on you get put on watch list if you walk around with one of those on. But I mean, I have a shirt with one. It's the ancient depiction of Sigurd, sucking his thumb.
So yeah, it's almost like the exact same. That Sigurd one I bet you're talking about is a similar kind of style pattern here, know. So yeah, on the runic it says, he is Wodan's man, or Wodanaz's man. Look, he's on a horse. And dude, boom, there's or maybe he's on a bull, because look, it's almost like you got this. You have the little horns of right here above the horse. I don't know if that's supposed to suggest something, but yeah, there's the swastika there.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a horse? Is that a horse? Yeah. Okay. Some people would say it'd be a donkey, maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if these are supposed to be the horns or not, or if it's supposed to be some other thing, but.
Dude, I'm glad you caught that. I was about to say, I don't know if that represents the moon. Maybe, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, is it supposed to be attached to the
Figured
animal
it represented it was some horned animal, maybe, or maybe it's like a headdress that he wears that he puts on the horse.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the oldest runic inscription that references Odin.
How far back does this date? Oh, look at those are runes.
I think this one's like from the 500s, I want to say. Dates to the Norse. Oh no, that's Odin does. Back to the beginning of the 4th century AD. So, yeah, 300s. So yeah, pretty damn old. So right around the time of the Goths, I guess that's when they're getting converted anyway. And a horseshoe, I guess, is what they say it is, and a horseshoe on the left of the profile. And it says he is Odin's man, or Wodanaz's man. Yeah, pretty freaking cool. What is this one?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, this must be the back of it. Yeah, it's the back of it. You can kind of see the impressions of it. So yeah, they say there's a horseshoe.
Cool. Oh, okay. Interesting. Put that on a shirt.
Yeah, for sure, right? For shirt.
Fuck yeah. That's one good thing that AI can help you do as well, dude, is if you don't have anyone to make designs, just fucking, if it looks good, right? You don't want to put something out there that would make it, but like, I don't know, man. I've redone a couple designs and changed just like the smallest thing and made some pretty cool shit.
I'm gonna get this bad boy on one of my shirts, you know.
There we go, dude. That, then he's a god of the morning wood.
There you go.
Literally got morning wood. Yeah,
beat you over the head with it.
Let's go. Him and where's the bog god? Hold on. Where is he? Let me look this guy up real fast. You're gonna laugh. This dude fucks pretty hard though. Oh God, I keep hitting my mic. It's usually up.
I need to get one of those mic stands, the one that kind of does the arm thing or whatever, because yeah, mine is just on a tower thing, and I hate having it right here.
I got soon, dude. Let's see. I know there's Nerthus, right? But I'm looking for the
Zeros says
stone.
Dagda. So this one says 5th century. So 4th to 5th century for this oldest runic inscription for Odin.
Let's see. I'm gonna find this. Hold on, give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, so what thought there was some other thing that was related to this I'd found. This is just the place where they found it. Oh yeah, here are those helmets that you can kind of see that they
I was about to say my family's asleep, so I can go as long as you can.
One thing that they also found in these Vendel things, in one of these Vendel boat things, I thought was really interesting. I'd never seen it. That really pertains to Odin, I guess. But they have this dice that I was like, dude, that's like a modern looking dice. Yeah. Oh no, here we go. Yeah. So yes, excavations from the Vendel era, boat grave, where they find those cool helmets. But yeah, dude, this freaking helmet or this these dice here just looks really, really neat. Oh my god, my computer keeps jacking up, and I zoom in. Here we go. And then the other one is
whoa,
it's another game piece with a human figure. So I'm like, yo, Viking ancestors playing D&D. This is like his character piece right here. Boom, it's settled.
Yeah.
It's in the blood.
Let me see.
Yeah, you can see like the six-sided, the six pips on the side of this die. It's like, this is just crazy to me. Yeah, it's even, I don't know. I wonder what's the oldest dice they have found. I know they found some like dodecahedron in Egypt, I think, or something.
I had it on my old X account. I posted this picture, and I was like, this guy's definitely a god of the morning wood. Dude, I gotta find this image though. I gotta show it. It's huge. Like, it's fucking, oh, dude, it's crazy.
In regards to these other
maybe I'll find it.
Chalk giants while you're looking for this, I actually did find, so they actually, so this dude here, some time ago, I think in the 60s, they were flying over and they found like another chalk giant, but this one's even more interesting because, and this is more of an impression of it, but another big chalk giant, but he seems to be holding a spear, and he definitely seems to just have one eye on the side. And it's actually in a place that's called Wandborough, and there are so many places in England that's like, I thought I hold a whole list of them here. There's so many places in England that are named after Odin. So yeah, there's a whole list here, right? So Wandborough, Wansdyke, Wanstead, Wadensbury, Wadnesfield, Wodensborough. Tons of places in England that they attest that are left over from the Saxon times that have to do with Odin's name. So yeah, in this place that bears like an Odinic name near Wandborough, Wodensborough, maybe it's like either Wodensborough or Woden's Hill or something. There's another attested chalk giant that they found, or impression or something like that. And yeah, but this one is profile, and that, you know, they could definitely maybe make out at least one eye. Maybe that's like the point, and then maybe he must be holding like a javelin or spear of some sort. So boom, another Odin connection.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I should have saved it in my phone. But I will. I don't want to waste any more time trying to look for it. It's not Nerthus. It's a male god.
And then
I mean, fuck it. Anyway, sorry, Brady.
it's all good
Tried to find it for you.
for the next time.
Yes. Indeed, man.
And then there's this other last place I thought was really crazy. So it's called Adam's Grave now, but it wasn't always called that. Before that, it was called Woden's Barrow. Wodensburg. So it's like a giant, it's actually like a Neolithic long barrow. And you can actually kind of see the barrow at this little kind of nipple bit here at the top of this hill. And it's actually part of a larger complex, I want to say, that continues on. But yeah, here's like the Neolithic barrow way here at the top. And I actually have some cooler pictures of it. And other places. Where the heck is it?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so over here on the right, you can kind of see the barrow here and how it's at the top of this hill. And there you can kind of see, here's an overhead shot of this barrow, the long barrow here. But of course, they had to give it a Christian name, so that at some point they named it Adam's Grave.
Yeah, there's the same thing in South Africa, I think, with Adam's calendar, whatever.
And then here's another weird, crazier one. I don't want to say it's crazier, but there's a place that's so yeah, it's got this name called Grimm's Ditch or Grimm's Dyke. Of course, Grimm being one of the famous names or epithets of Odin himself, right?
Yeah, dude.
And just one on the names too, just like, and you're gonna tell me that Jacob and people like the Grimm brothers, who seem to be like the biggest or some of the biggest carriers of folk knowledge and stories, also have like the Grimm name. Like, come on. But
and yes. I know Grimm, the word grimoire comes from grammar, but I've taken into consideration the Brothers Grimm and all that, so that's funny you mentioned that. You're the first person that I've heard bring that up.
And so yeah, it's like
I brought that up a bunch on Occult Reject. Made Nick pretty mad about it. He was like, "No, man. It comes from grammar." I was like, "All right."
There's still a bit of even if it's not directly from one another, there's still a bit of a convergence regardless, right? Odin being a god of speech and words anyway, and letters, basically,
Right. That's why I thought of it in the first place.
But this Grimm's,
I can't fucking believe it.
Dike or ditch thing is like a really, really, really big earthwork, actually, right? It's a giant linear earthwork, and I'll show you some pictures over here where I'm just going to show you the names first. Where is it?
Hey, I found the picture.
I'll throw it up.
Here, I'm going to put it in the chat. Fuck yeah. You're going to love it. This is, let's see.
God of poetry, indeed, mythos.
Right. Among other things, hold on. Let's just. All right, I'm gonna post it. Or yeah, where'd the chat go? There it is.
Did you post it in the? Here we go. Yeah, I have seen this thing. Yeah.
Definitely a god of the morning wood, dude.
Boom. T-shirt idea.
I'd say so. Probably. Yeah. We can do something cool to it. Maybe put a Phrygian cap on them.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I don't know what the Phrygians have to do with bogs, but it's all in the same conversation we're talking about. So I'm preparing. I have a little presentation I'm going to give on what the bogs were used for, both for rituals and for like self-care and relaxation. People would get drunk in the bogs and fall asleep and then just die. I know I'm laughing, but it's like I think they have signs that they're like, "Don't fall asleep."
Maybe it's like your Neolithic opiate connection or something like that,
Yeah, no, there is something therapeutic about it. Especially it just being part of the earth. Definitely say that something divine about that.
you know, I would definitely consider there to be a god of the bogs. So whether that's it or not, I mean, I know Nerthus is talked about, but
and somehow I want to say, I'm trying to remember when I was doing the God video, the etymology of God, that I think like in some Slavic language, like bog is like the word God or something in another language. So, you know, because, yeah, it's, I want to say it's bog, and it's kind of a strange
it's gob backwards, you know, gob, like the brother in, or what's this show? Arrested Development. It's a funny show.
God damn, where are these stupid things? Okay, well, anyway, here's like these, so like I said, I've been talking about this, this Grimm's Ditch, and yeah, it's like a really, really long earthwork that they have, and here's just like one little segment of it, but, trying to find like the longer pictures, yeah, you can kind of see, no, these must be other parts, I want to say. Here's just another ditch they kind of have here, and you know, are they just old, earthwork for fortifications or something like that, but you can kind of, there's a really cool picture here. Oh my god, I'm fucking it up. Where is it? Here it is.
No, you're good, dude.
And
You have way more you're in control of your tabs.
And you can kind of just see where this ditch goes way off into the distance here, just how long this ditch earthwork actually is, and how it just kind of snakes all the way up this way, and just kind of mind-boggling.
No pun intended. Fuck, dude. I'd love to go there. Unless there's immigrants roaming.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Dude, I saw this one video. There was some Muslim guy. Maybe he was Indian. But somebody was walking up on him, like, in the middle of nowhere. Some, like, hundreds of year old wall. And he's just smashing it.
Oh, yeah, and he's like, it's in the way
just
or something,
breaking
you know?
the wall just to fucking break it, dude. Yeah. Dude, I would have... I don't know. I'm not going to incriminate myself. Don't want to Fed post on your podcast, but definitely would have been smashing that wall with something else. Let's just say that. If I would have walked up on that, that's I mean, you don't see Europeans going over to their country at all, but much less to smash up their ancient architecture.
I just feel like those gotta be like agent
invade their
provocateurs,
homeland.
You know, I just feel like it's got to be someone who is like, he's
yeah,
not just like authentically like, oh, this wall's in my way. Like, nah, some glowy or some person like hired him to.
Dude, I'm telling
you,
shit. Bro. I'm fucking telling you. Like, why would someone just be there just smashing it? It's like, no, this dude just got paid to come do this. Like, that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. I mean, they're already doing it in Hollywood with all of our mythologies, right? I mean, the next step is a Volsunga saga with a sub-Saharan Sigurd, right?
Yep.
I mean, they for what they did with, you know, the Odyssey, and that was bad enough, but it can get worse. It can get much worse.
I just saw that something about they're trying to have Aeneas played by someone of that descent. I want to say for a retelling of the of Virgil's Aeneid.
No, you're fucking kidding me.
Wish I was, but nah.
You've seen like even on the Lord of the Rings.
Oh my god!
Which I watched the new show. I bared through it. The elf doesn't bother me so much as the dwarf queen.
You should have seen though. I saw this new picture of him today that I just saw.
I was like, yeah, I saw a caption for it. It was like Tolkien would have been. This is exactly what Tolkien wanted.
Nah, you haven't seen this new one.
Yeah, some DEI agenda.
The dwarves.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
Earth.
like, where's his? Okay, first off, he didn't have the kid should have a beard. He should have a beard. Doesn't matter that he's younger. They're born with beards. Like, that's the lore. So there you go. Fucked up there. it's the same thing. They kind of screwed, and I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know if you watch. I've listened to a lot of the book on tapes of George R. Martin, you know, the Game of Thrones stuff, dude, because it's pretty fucking cool when you get into like the older books of like the more ancient history of that timeline. A lot of it's based off a lot of, you know, pagan lore and mythology as well as Lord of the Rings is. But like they made the Valarian family black and like whatever, but
I feel like for
it's
that one
gonna
they
mess
did a
up
better
the future
taste
of
in that version, you know.
but it's gonna mess up the future of the show, the future of the bloodlines, because there were black people in Game of Thrones. You had the Grey Worm dude who was the leader of the Unsullied, the you know, the eunuchs. And then you had like you had a few black roles in that show, but they all came from Essos. But like I just don't know what they're gonna do in timelines. If they do, they probably will avoid it and just quit making it, or they'll just remake Game of Thrones and it'll be in like 20 years and it'll be awful. It'll be so bad. We got to start making better art, guys.
Yeah, like, you know, I've seen some little creators on Instagram that, you know, doing little dark, they're trying to recreate dark fantasy kind of vibes from the 80s, but you know, it's like people that actually have a love of the craft, right? And they're, you know, they're doing things on small budgets. They're kind of trying to do what they can, and like, you know, that's honestly that's how it's going to really have to get back in our hands, because we kind of have the technology. We can kind of fake the fancier you know, special effects or whatever. So
yeah. Well, like to what I was talking about, like in the Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner, you had Morgan Freeman playing a Moor. And it's like, you know, not all the Moors, the Moors weren't all black, but like there were some from North Africa or whatever. So like it makes sense. It makes sense for what's her name? Vivica A. Fox to play Calypso in the 97 Odyssey, because that is like the southernmost part of the Mediterranean where her island was, I'm pretty sure. And she like it's pretty exotic, you know, whatever. Like I don't think she's yeah, you know, I don't know. But what I'm saying is like there's roles, you know, there's stories that could be told. They're not telling them, right? They're just replacing our history. And I don't know if you noticed, but you know, John Bernthal, Anne Hathaway, and the Odyssey, both Jewish actors. And so, you know, and I know there's a lot of Jewish actors. And to be honest with you, I enjoy some of their movies. Sue me, you know? But
yeah, if they're giving
as
us
far
not,
as like main roles,
yeah, give us some top tier propaganda, please. You know,
that's what. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I just think I think that whole movie was dog shit, to be honest with you. But and I'm not gonna even see it. I saw like 3 scenes from it. I just can't.
Yeah.
Can't. I stick to the 97 Odyssey with Armand Asante. It fucks hard, and it's how I want to remember it. Through cinema, at least. We added it to the wheel on Gods of the Morning Wood. We guys, we have a wheel that we spin, and then we choose what book we're gonna read the next week. So I think this week it's Box Saga. And if Headless can't make it, we're not gonna do the Golden Ass, so we can just do Box Saga the whole time. Or if there's something you want to put in there, I don't think Natural Selectionist is going to be there either. He has something he has to do. So it'll be me, you, Zeralath, and Stein, I think. So maybe we'll spin the wheel again, see what we land on.
Talking about actors of particular descent as well. Don't forget that you know, Agamemnon and his aura farming is one of the biggest memes from the movie too. But it's played by this guy, Benny Safdie, and yeah, he is Ashkenazi actually. So.
Dude, this is what we got into on one of the last episodes of the Rustic God Show. A24 is one, you know, the production company. They are owned. 2 of the owners are Jewish, like 2 of like the main producers. So it's like, okay, they're depicting nothing They're not telling their stories. They're depicting nothing but European stories in a grotesque manner. You know, Midsummer, Begonia. I mean, The Witch was actually good. I actually kind of liked it. It was a period piece. I think it was like for that time, it fit it pretty good, pretty well. But they depict all witches to be like that, and all the redheads be burned at the stake. Women that look like my daughter and my wife. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, I don't think so. But
And the recent
anyway,
Death of Robin Hood
it,
movie, trying to redo heroes and portray them. Talking on Wolverine, someone in the chat mythos.
yeah,
But yeah, once again, yeah, your heroes were not heroes; they were just bad guys the whole time.
yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's one of the things that also put me on to the path of ancestral faith, was looking at the biblical stories and seeing Esau being depicted as evil or whatever, and being red and covered in hair, and then like uh all the redheaded women are evil. They're, burn them at the stake, which I think in a way was a molt sacrifice. Think of the red heifer sacrifices, right? You have this red hair obsession that they have. And yeah. So I think that the Christians burning their fellow like sisters and wives and daughters that were redhead just because, like that was a molt sacrifice in a way to Yahweh. IMO, in my opinion. Anyway, but like the Nephilim having red hair and like
Right.
all that shit, dude. It's just like, okay, they're depicting. I mean, yeah, we were barbarians, but it was our culture. You know what I mean? And it was beautiful in its own way that I believe they envy. But call us what you want, barbarians, heathens. They're all derogatory terms as far as it goes. They've never been. And growing up, you see that, and it's usually portrayed through propaganda, like Hot Topic and all that shit. You see these like neo-trans pagans and stuff that just worship like fucking Lucifer or Satan or something, and they're just being edgy, just going as far as they can. But yeah, trying to replace our identity, and we're going to lose that European spirit, and we can't lose it. So that's the main, focus in my show, is to bring that spirit back, right?
Yep.
Both through like reading and conversing about the culture, venerating the gods, talking about things that people don't want to talk about.
They don't even think about it, yeah,
But
for sure. They want to stay in their little,
what it is.
where history's nice and tidied up for them, where like we just went through a bunch of iconography, like what the hell, what the heck is going on?
Relearn anything, and like it,
But yeah, man.
I don't know. I can't speak for anything else.
And yeah, all we can really
But
try
no,
to
man,
do
thanks.
is show them what we found,
brother.
but yeah, try to lead them to water and tell them to watch out for alligators.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to bash anyone for any, kind of religion that they practice, as long as they don't, degrade mine, right? But or unless obviously there's something happening that is making, because I mean, you got some crazy people out there, dude. You got people out there that think that Christ was this like white Aryan Chad, and like all these things, like the whole Jewish story is our story, and everything that's European is satanic. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
it's disgusting. That's the most disgusting, in my opinion. You're replacing your own heritage and folk with not only a foreign one, but your enemy, to be quite honest with you. The Magi, or the Magi, whatever you want to call them, and all of, from the Orlinda to these other stories, I believe they may be mentioned in the Bach saga, or maybe one of the, not the Eddas. something else that we were reading. But they're never really doing anything good. They were the ones that said that came over and taught human sacrifice to the people who were living in nature, like the early tribes over in Albion and the Celtic. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there were rites of sacrifice for certain tribes, but I don't know if the Druids at first were doing that as far as human sacrifice goes. I know they were making little effigies of the gods, little idols of the gods, and putting them inside oak trees and stuff. And maybe that evolved to humans. I don't know. That's like one of the theories, maybe. But I think Stein said on my show one time that even the Vigvasir, the Icelandic compass, may have roots in the Kabbalah or whatever. So still got to stay questioning things.
Yep, I mean, the Vigvasir is definitely from like Icelandic Christian magic, basically. So
yes, definitely tied into Christian mysticism, which is in itself Jewish mysticism. I know people won't agree with me on that, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah, man. This has been an epic stream. We're kind of hitting the 2.5 hour mark, and so I think
we are. If I talk too much, man,
same here.
I'm sorry for keeping us on here.
No, dude, it's perfect. I think this is a perfect because somehow, I had stuff about Gite and Dawkins and Sabazius pulled up anyway, so it was a perfect kind of bounce back and forth, ping-ponging back between, and somehow you managed to even get the Thracian with the swastika, and then got us right back to Odin on a horse anyway. So no, that was a perfect tangent.
Odin on a horse.
To all this sort of stuff, right? And you bringing up the horse rounding up earlier is definitely related to all these things that we're sort of talking about here. So no, I thought this was a perfect little encapsulation of things that I want to hit on tonight anyway. So excellent combination of forces here as we kind of applied our different occult esoteric lenses to this sort of thing. So everyone, make sure you go check out Greypilled if you're not already subscribed to him, and come check us out on Saturday mornings for Gods of the Morning Wood with our new mascot that he showed us. And we'll definitely have to maybe try to find another topic to maybe do this thing all over again or something, right? To just kind of like
man.
No,
we could definitely start making this a thing. Yeah, dude, because no one's booking on Greypilled. If you want to book a show on there, you're more than welcome to. I can have you on and kind of talk to you about what you experienced and talk further about this stuff. I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that I was going to bring up to you tonight that I thank God I forgot because it would have just put us on longer rants about things. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of talk a lot.
That's good. That's what the people pay us for, right? That's why they're here. So
subjects at hand. Yeah. But sometimes, like, if you're on Gods of the Morning Wood and you want to say something and I just start talking, just talk louder than me and I'll shut up. I will not get offended. I promise, dude. Like, I'll just be like, from being on Occult Rejects so much, I learned how to just like, or just hold my tongue until I could ask my 3 or 4 questions. But by then I'll like forget half of them, dude, so that's why maybe sometimes I'm like, hey, this, but start writing stuff down. Anyway, Brady, thanks for having me on, man. Guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. My old account got hacked, so I got like almost 400 followers at Greypilled with 3 Ds, and then YouTube, Rumble. Go subscribe over there, and Patreon if you want to support the show. You can go to patreon.com/Greypilled Podcast. I got a $2 to $25 tier, and then I have a merch site at greypilled.printify.me. And someone said that the shipping was a little pricey, but I don't think it really is. And it's worth it because they're good shirts. They're actually, because I was worried at first that it'd be shit quality, but it's good. It's good. You can also choose what shirt you want to print your stuff on. But yeah, no. Again, Brady, great stream. Thanks for inviting me on, brother. And I'm sorry if like I said, I was everywhere tonight. I had a long day at work, and it's rare that I stream even on the weekdays. I went a long time not doing any shows on the during the week. So I really appreciate you bringing me on, and we can do more of these.
Yeah, man, absolutely. No sorries at all. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. So no, I don't feel any type of way at all. That was exactly what I wanted from this. And so oh yeah, I know it's getting to both the midnight from here, and once again, I know that I will definitely feed the conversation. So if I don't reel it back, we will continue doing this, and then we won't have anything else to stream about.
I see that you're a lot like me in that way. Yeah. We're gonna have to. I'll just, like I said, I'll just shut the fuck up when you start talking. So.
All right, y'all. Make sure you go throw some comments down below for us, what you liked, or maybe some suggestions for next time as well, for us to orient around a conversation. And yeah, we'll definitely do this all again. So without further ado, yeah, make sure you go check out this Saturday. We'll be back in just a couple of days. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow night with Chance, and we're going to talk about 800 years of Hamlet, and just the more origins of the Hamlet story, and then talking about Shakespeare's changes and the sources for that. So if you want to come join the conversation tomorrow night, we'll be there. But otherwise, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think me and Zaralath are doing an Occult Cinema tomorrow night, but it's not on YouTube. It's on Rumble. So after y'all watch Brady's show, y'all come over there. We'll probably be starting around 9:30 or so. So I'm sure you'll start earlier.
Yeah, I think we might start like an hour before, probably around like 8:30 my time. So, but yeah,
it's a Patreon show anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, go watch it all. Come support us. Thanks for hanging out tonight, Mythos and Zaralath and Jordan. Yeah, thank y'all for joining on the chat. Y'all dropped some awesome, or Jason, my bad. Yeah, y'all dropped some awesome stuff in here tonight. So super appreciate y'all hopping on this evening, and hope to see you on the next one. All right, guys. Make sure you go read all the sources for yourself. Don't take our word for it, right? We always say around here, nullius in verba, on no one else's word but your own. So go check it out for yourself. Otherwise.